The new exhibit is on the community house, the community Spring Lake Memorial Community House, and the reason is it's 100 years old this year. So the dedication of the community house was in 1923. So of course, being 2023, we are now at 100 years. And what a gem this community house is. And what a gem we have with Pat Berry as the producer, director, trustee, whatever. We are so lucky to have such good leadership over there. And for it to be kept in such the gem that it is, because it really is a gem. What would this town be without that community house? You know, it's a landmark, it's iconic, it just, and it brings so much happiness to so many people. Plus, it produces so many talented people, you know, who come out of here, who enjoy themselves too, right? Okay, on to the really, how it came to be about. O.H. Brown donated the money, $100,000, and the plot of land worth about $40,000. And then later he donated more money, like for the theater inside, furnishings and stuff. And it kind of got put in his head by the Women's Club, because they had formed in 1918. And they needed a community house, or they wanted a community place to meet, etc. They did not have that. So somehow he got the word, and he decided he didn't talk to that many people. Being a big patriot of Spring Lake, he decided that he would donate this land and give money toward the building of it. So this was really, really generous. He was a philanthropist. He really was a philanthropist. He had many real estate holdings in town. If all of you know where Baines Hardware is, used to be the variety shop, that was his building. That was his fine furnishings. O.H. Brown Fine Furnishings. Then he went to Europe to furnish these mansions, these hotels in town. So he was basically a Horatio Alger story, because he came from literally not money, right, from Freehold area. And then he did all this real estate development. So he owned so much property in town, so many homes that he had built. So he was in a good position, I guess, to donate it, but still, it was such a philanthropy thing to do that, you know, nobody else, I guess, in town could do it. But he was such a lover of Spring Lake, being what it was. He had to have 3 homes moved to build this. So back in the day, 1919 we're talking, they just picked up the houses and moved them somewhere. We're not sure where the houses went, because nobody kept track of them.
I did. They were all on First Avenue on the south end of town.
First Avenue South End?
Yeah, eventually they've all been torn down the past few years.
Okay. Near Union and all that area? Wow.
Yeah. One was called the Giraffe. It was like a rooming house or something like that on First Avenue. But everything seems like forever ago. It seemed maybe 20 years ago they were torn down.
Yeah.
When the property became more valuable than a house.
Were they all kind of lined up on First Avenue?
No, they were all on First. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Just to honor him, or just to honor actually the community house, I'd like to read the speech that O.H. Brown gave on July 4th, 1923, at the dedication of the community house. And it showed, particularly toward the end, listen to his great patriotism that comes through for Spring Lake and for the Jersey Shore in general, because he did believe that the Jersey Shore was going to become really, really popular, and etc. So it's kind of interesting to hear that from the words that he actually spoke at the speech. Oh, and also he made the announcement at the casino in town, which is now the Batman Tennis. He made the announcement that he was going to donate it, and people were very surprised. So it just kind of like came out as a surprise. The speech. Mr. Chairman, invited guests and citizens of Spring Lake, I have looked forward to the completion of this building. Therefore, this is a day of much satisfaction to me. Having spent more than 40 years of my life in your midst and served more than 30 years as your mayor, I have found you always ready to support every worthy movement that had for its object the betterment and prosperity of the borough. There is perhaps no other municipality on the Jersey coast where the cooperation and community spirit is stronger than in this vicinity. Noteworthy, isn't it? My earnest prayer is that the religious, educational, and social interest of Spring Lake will be strengthened by being all combined under this roof, which is dedicated as a memorial to the brave boys who served in the World War. And this is to be hoped that the Young Men's Christian Association, the splendid library, and all other kindred associations will find a prosperous and happy home in this building. I delight to think in the ages to come, perhaps 100 years or more from now, when this building, covered with ivy, surrounded by beautiful trees, flowers, and shrubbery, all within sound of the old ocean's roar, a great city will exist, as in my opinion this whole Jersey coast will be one vast city, populated in winter as well as summer, with Spring Lake perhaps as the garden spot of it all. Isn't that nice?
Nice, beautiful.
Nature has endowed it with unusual favor. The old mill with its fine water power and beautiful location, which could be made by the expenditure of a few $1,000s, one of the most attractive situations of our neighborhood with the highlands of Spring Lake to the west, Spring Lake Heights, Wreck Pond on the south, Lake Como on the north, and the Atlantic Ocean on the east. The churches, superb hotels, new homes, splendid public buildings make it an ideal spot in which to live. But it largely depends on the best possible government and the highest ideals of the people. May this be our vision. And I think our former mayors had that vision because they carried it through to the present. I want to say in closing a word of commendation to Frank Newman, the architect, and H.H. Moore, the builder, who have done such excellent work and who have really completed the building far beyond my early expectations. I also want to express my gratitude to the trustees, especially Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Heilner, for her untiring zeal in completing this building in every possible detail. This building is a gift to the citizens of Spring Lake. May it be a source of blessing and happiness to them for all time to come. I might point out that Mrs. Heilner is the one responsible for starting the library. She's pictures up there too. So she was very instrumental in supporting this. I guess when they needed a coal to run the community house, she donated coal.
Yeah.
You know. Have anything to add?
Thank you all so much. This is beautiful. I found the community house 46 years ago by accident, and it's the greatest thing that ever happened in my life. I mean, people keep saying you did so much. No, it did so much more for me. But Mrs. Heilner was the brains behind the whole operation. I have letters that she wrote to Frederick Olmsted, not just about the community house, but about the town and how she was asking for his advice to make it more beautiful. And you know, I wish that she and O.H. Brown could be here now to see that Spring Lake really is a model of beauty and nature, and I think our town has done a wonderful job of taking care of the lakes and everything down there. So I think that, you know, as a part of, I'm just grateful that I was able to do what I did. I feel sad that when I found it 46 years ago, it was kind of not being used at all and it was falling apart. But it's totally changed, and my goal right now is, because obviously I'm not going to be here for another 46 years, is to
Never know.
try. You never know. But is to make sure that it never happens again, that it will always be nurtured and cared for and taken care of. And the first time I ever sat in the theater was when my husband was running for mayor. And he didn't win, so in 1975. And I looked at the theater, and I lived here for over 10 years and never sat in the theater because people didn't use the theater. And I said, oh wow, all it needs is a little money and love. Never thinking that, you know, I'd still be doing this. So it'll always need money and love, and I hope that we're starting a campaign right now to ensure that, you know, it's to just endow the building for the next 100 years. So if any of you can contribute, if any of you want to help with our festivities for the year, we have a lot of wonderful things planned, especially the 4th of July, which we're going to do again this year with the whole block party, and you know, just keeping it all alive. But thank you so much. I really appreciate this, and this is wonderful. I have a lot more. We had an attic filled with boxes that I never looked at, and we were looking for things just to put up for our exhibit, and I found some treasure trove of things. But the one thing we can't find is the plans, the actual plans.
Joe Rizzo can't find the blueprint plans either.
No, and we
I don't know what
actually
happened to
found the contract between O.H. Brown and the architect, and it was, the deal was $91,000 to finish the building, which is pretty hysterical. But right now it has to be insured for $15 million, so it's kind of like a change. So, but anyhow, we're still working on that because it said in the contract that they had to return the plans to the architect after it was completed, and so we're still trying to find.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Has to be somewhere.
One little note about Mrs. Heilner. She's the one who had visited Normandy, France, and she found this the library inspiration.
Oh.
All of you been in the library? What a gorgeous place, right?
Beautiful,
Unique.
beautiful.
So this is from Normandy, France. The
I didn't know
the
that. I knew she had something to do with it. I
inspiration,
didn't know it was from Normandy.
from a monastery there.
Another thing about Adelise Heilner is that in 1985, the community house was a recipient of half of the remains of her estate.
In what year?
In 1985.
Wow, that's really
So it was kind of very serendipitous because at that time it enabled us to do a lot of work to redo the bathrooms, and now they've been redone again, but a lot of major work, electrical work. We had the air conditioning installed. I think it was about $150,000 that and of course that doesn't sound like a lot right now, but 1985 seemed like a lot of money, and we got a lot done with $150,000. So she was amazing. I really wish I could have her and O.H. Brown just for a few minutes just to see what they would think of it.
Speaking of that, we are planning, the Historical Society is planning a meeting where we will have guests, a one-man show. It will be O.H. Brown. It'll be in the theater. We're just working on a date instead of shoving it into July 4th. But O.H. Brown, she found the actor.
Yep.
She said he even looks like him.
He even looks like it.
Now maybe we can get a Mrs. Heilner. Anyway.
What did she look like? She didn't have very many attractive pictures of her.
No, she doesn't. Oh, it's right here.
Oh yeah, that's the only one I've ever seen her.
Yeah, no. So anyway, so just keep that in mind. It'll be sometime, what, July or August?
We'll see. I was thinking maybe we might try to pair with the library also and do a whole event, with because they get a good crowd for their events a lot in local town. So we'll see, but it'll definitely be great. And the one who's Bill Reinhardt, who his mom was, oh God, what was her last name? Carmody. She was Mrs. Carmody from Mount School.
Yeah, the music teacher.
Actually, my career started in theater in Bye Bye Birdie, which was the first show that the town sponsored in 1976. 76, yep. And I played a teenager, and he played a little boy in Bye Bye Birdie. So we're the only two people that are left, really, that from they're not dead, but So, so he looks like O.H. Brown. He's got the round face and big eyes, so I think he'll be perfect.
Comedy.
And he's a great. Well, his name is Reinhardt. Reinhardt.
Oh, Reinhardt. Never mind. She was a good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So.
right.
Can I ask a quick question about the community house?
Sure.
The theater, when was that built? That theater?
The whole thing.
The whole thing was
same time,
constructed
yeah.
at the same time, so
Yes.
the theater
It was-
wasn't later.
No,
No,
everything
the
came at the
furnishing
time.
of the.
It was
So that, the
used a little bit
So I
existing
think that,
theater
I think
is...
the seats were there from the opening.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the
because
existing
not those
theater
seats.
is...
Not those
No,
seats.
okay, that's what I
Yeah.
wondered.
We had to put new seats in '96, I think it was. But no, it's a wonderful treasure, and I think we're all lucky to have it.
We are.
I agree.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
So,